Bravo, Nyonyinto. Now that particular song is interesting because of the artists themselves, Milli Vanilli. Robert, did you know that Milli Vanilli were always miming their music? So much so that when the truth was discovered, a Grammy award that they had won was scrapped off of them.
Actually, I got to know about it through you.
Yes.
About a year or two back, and I had to pick interest in it.
We worked together for 4 months now.
So I picked interest to find out, is this real true?
Yes, their producer was actually...
And I wondered why the producer had to do such a thing, saying he wanted Africans.
And the same producer was behind Bonnie M, and it is said that the same producer used to sing the part of the gentleman in Bonnie M's music, and the gentleman was just miming it. Very interesting facts you do find. Weird at that, but at the end of the day, they are facts and they exist. It is Good Morning Uganda, and away from that light moment, 11th June today, 2026 is budget day in this budget month. Today, the budget speech will be read for the financial year 2026-2027. But speaking of budget, something that has interested me in the most recent updates a couple of hours ago, Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oboth initiated sweeping financial reforms by instructing the Clerk of Parliament to drastically slash the Speaker's office budget from roughly 24 billion down to 3.9 billion.
Well, that was a budget for Rebecca Kadaga. It was a budget, I think, for Jacob Olanya, around that.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I think there were 2 point something. Now here he comes to that. So, despite inflation and all that, I think it can work. You know, there is no temptation as having so much money on your disposal.
Yep.
With little to do for it. You end up doing funny things. Indeed, as we rightfully so. You end up doing funny things.
And yet, of course, in the budget that is to be read, legislation and oversight was allocated 1.2 trillion. So with the 24 billion that he has slashed off, the excess funds are being relocated to empower parliamentary committees to conduct active on-site oversight instead of relying purely on post-facto Auditor General reports.
That is a good step. That is a good step. When we see the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, and also to the Treasury, also coming up with measures. We've seen that now we won't have these parades, public holidays, people moving up country, spending a lot of money feeding people, and all that. A one-day event taking about 16-12 billion. We won't see this happen anymore. So it is a very good move. But yesterday, on the floor of Parliament, they condemned acts of mob justice following Sydney's death. Now I saw a county member of Parliament, Andrew Olanya, who asked government to come up with policies that address delayed response to mob justice. Now, Honorable, that was very good, a very good concern. But I think the solution here is not expediting justice on people who have committed mob justice. The solution is addressing the factor that leads people into mob justice.
If it's dealt with, then the
root. If people know when we take this person to police, justice will prevail. Believe you, no one will beat that person, because they know we shall handle this. We shall hand this person to police. He will see him being charged. But I gave you an example yesterday. Someone steals my cow in Gayaza. We get the person with a cow along Namuongo in a hipsam, that's whatever I think it's called. Take this person to police with all evidence. Even a chase has been conducted. Now you nab this person. You record every statement, you go for up. He's nowhere. Later, even the car as an exhibit is nowhere. Now, when that person comes again, and I get him at my farm, I'm a Christian, but the pain of what I went through, slaughtering and all that, my animals, if a panga is near,
you might forget your Christianity.
You might forget your Christianity. So what must be addressed?
Yeah.
That surely, how do we improve our judicial system How do you improve police? Yes, we have these things, bail, bond, and one time His Excellency had suggested that for some cases, let bail and bond not be something easily got. You come back, tuamua police bond, and like, excuse me.
Interesting.
Is their right, and you have nothing to do.
I know, indeed. Now, in that same spirit, Robert, take us away with what we have on the local scene this morning. We
begin with Uganda Airlines, which has signed an aircraft acquisition agreement with Boeing, marking one of the biggest steps yet in the national carrier's fleet expansion plan. The deal, witnessed by President Yoweri Museveni at State House in Entebbe, will see Uganda Airlines acquire 10 aircrafts as government moves to grow the carrier's route network, cargo capacity, and long-haul operations. The agreement was signed by Uganda Airlines Acting Chief Executive Officer Rima Wak and Boeing Executive Vice President and Head of Sales for Africa. The Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, assured Parliament how government is open to reviewing the policies on the proposal of scrapping medical interns' allowances. Alupo cites how the growing number of these medical interns is a result of deliberate government investment in science teaching, however assuring the members how Ministry of Health will come up with a comprehensive report that will be presented to the House for clear discussion. Recently, government under a new National Education and Training for Health policy categorized internship into the formal education system, which indicates scrapping of government allowances to medical interns. The leader of opposition, Joe Senyonya, urged government to drop the report policy saying medical interns provide critical labor after completion of training. The Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, responded to the concerns by assuring Parliament how government will have discussions of reviewing and looking into this policy. Due to the growing number of these medical interns, Ministry of Health was also tasked to come up with a comprehensive report. Meanwhile, Parliament has condemned the acts of mob justice that were witnessed last week on one Sydney Gogondio. The matter was raised by Omoro County Member of Parliament Andrew Olanya, who asked government to come up with policies that address delayed response to mob justice. A total of 18 ex-officials have been sworn in as per the rules of procedures of the August House. Presiding over the administration of the oath of office and that of allegiance was the Speaker of the 12th Parliament, Jacob Maxson Oboth. According to the rules of procedures, like elected members of Parliament, ex-officials members are required to take an oath of allegiance, both assuming their seats in the House before assuming their seats in the House. Accordingly, 18 of the 21 ex-officials in the 12th Parliament have this week, which was yesterday, taken oath. One by one, the minister swore to abide by the rules of procedures of Parliament at all costs, whereas they are allowed to actively participate in parliamentary debates, answer questions regarding their respective ministries, and serve on parliamentary committees. Ex-official members are barred from voting on any matter before Parliament that requires a decision or division. Meanwhile, the leader of opposition, Joe Senyonyi, introduced to the House the alternative cabinet, better called the shadow ministers. Notable among them is Kawempe North Member of Parliament, coming in as Shadow Attorney General. Article 78 of the 1995 Constitution provides for integration of members of the executive into the legislature for better governance and coordination. Following the remand of Dr. Kizza Besigye and his co-accused Haji Obeidi Lutale to Rizla prison and a series of court appearances before Justice Emmanuel Waguma at the High Court, supporters of the People's Front for Freedom, PFF, have called for the judge to excuse himself from the case. The party argues that his continued handling of the matter has raised concerns about impartiality and is demanding that he withdraws from the proceedings. The chief petitioner, Ambassador Waswa Biligwa, revealed the team seeks to collect over 1 million signatures across the country, which are to be sent to the Judicial Service Commission and other government entities to facilitate the due process. According to Ingrid Twinawe, the party seeks to have a fair hearing of retired Dr. Kizza Besigye, who has over time demanded Justice Waguma to step down. Elias Lukwago shared the basic principles courts must follow when handling civil and criminal cases. He was concerned about the delayed justice of the duo. Meanwhile, Uganda Law Society's Secretary General Sali Babu, on behalf of the Society's President Isaac Semakande, who is out of the country, received the petition. Later, PFF members paid a courtesy visit to Ruzila prison, where Kizza Besigye and his ally Obeidi Lutale are remanded. And with that, we come to the end of our local stories this morning. Let's see what Julie has for us on the international scene. Definitely.
So we're starting off with Canada. Canada is proposing a social media ban for children and teenagers under the age of 16, mirroring a similar law passed in Australia last year. And of course, Britain is also underway with these plans. But unlike Australia's law, tech firms could sidestep Canada's ban if they demonstrate they have policies to minimize harm to minors. The law includes sweeping measures to regulate AI chatbots and curtail harmful content online. It would create a regulator to ensure tech firms comply. Some free speech groups have warned it would expand censorship. It comes amid calls from parents and advocates to bolster children's safety online, and as the countries, including the UK, eye similar bans. The law is being proposed ahead of the upcoming G7 summit in France next week, where world leaders are expected to discuss and issue statements on AI and protecting children from online harm. Canada's proposed law, the Safe Social Media Act, was put forward in the House of Commons on Wednesday by Culture Minister Mark Miller. Earlier in the week, Miller said passing the law that addresses online harms was a priority for Canadian government because kids are dying. Suffice to say, we will take all reasonable measures to make sure kids are safe in this country, he told reporters. Robert, ever wondered what this law would look like if it were in Uganda? Active in Uganda?
Is it possible?
Let's move on. Iran has claimed attacks on United States military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and targeted 2 vessels in the Strait of Hormuz in retaliation for renewed U.S. attacks on the country. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that is IRGC, said it launched drone strikes on Bahrain's Sheikh Issa Air Base and Kuwait's Ali Al Salem and Ahmed Al Jaber air bases early on Thursday. 2 oil tankers that attempted to illegally pass through the Strait of Hormuz were also hit, it said. The IRGC accused the U.S. of repeated violations of the April ceasefire and declared the Strait of Hormuz closed until further notice. It said all traffic in the waterway, including all tankers and commercial vessels, would be affected. The attackers came after the U.S.'s Central Command announced renewed strikes on multiple targets inside Iran. The military said the attacks were on President Donald Trump's orders and in response to Iran's unwarranted and continued aggression. Iranian state media reported explosions on Qasem Island and in the cities of Bandar Abbas and Sirik along the Strait of Hormuz. Blasts also hit the southern city of Kargan, wounding at least 2 people. Now, let's come back to the continent. Police in South Africa have launched a manhunt after 12 people were killed in a mass shooting at an informal settlement in Johannesburg. At least 10 suspects heavily armed with rifles entered the Jumpers informal settlement in the suburb of Cleveland late on Tuesday night and opened fire before fleeing in a white vehicle, police said. The motive for what police called a heartless and barbaric attack in which another 9 people were injured is still being investigated. Members of the Jumpers community believe the shooting may be linked to a tough war between groups of illegal miners living in the area. Illegal mining has been on the increase in South Africa, which has one of the highest murder rates in the world. Shootings in informal settlements are not uncommon, sometimes linked to gang violence and personal disputes. The local police department said its officers responded to a complaint of shooting in progress at about said 8 men and 3 women died at the scene, while another man died from his injuries in hospital. That brings us to the end of what we have on the global scene. A quick dive into what the dailies carry this morning. New Vision, Daily Monitor, and of course the rest of East Africa. Robert, what do we have?
New Vision, the budget, their budget key tax changes explained. That is in the New Vision. Now, what are those changes? Museveni warns Ugandans pastors on Ebola. Why? And over 100 tenders. But also medical school runs out of dead bodies.
Oh, yes. For study purposes. Yeah. And people dying?
People are dying, but do they all have where they are buried? Can they claim these ones?
I know, right? And what are they called? Limbo.
Well, moving on, the Daily Monitor here. Witnesses, here's Dr. Besige's plot. What plot is that? Then the budget also, the 2025-2026 budget hits and misses. They're in there also. In the Daily Monitor, how Kampala lost 56% of its wetland in 3 decades. Then armed men hijack tax, rob travelers. And still the Daily Monitor this morning, leadership wrangles shake Lila University and government loan, that is guarantees raised to $200 million US. Well, these and more when you get yourself any of these too. But let's see what our neighbors have.
Our neighbors are represented by Kenya, the Daily Nation, a World Cup like no other. That's the Daily Nation for you. It's World Cup season started today and ending in about what, 18th July, thereabout. 39 days it is for World Cup and action-packed football for you. But the time for the matches is also interesting because balancing sleep and having to wake up early for work, that's the tug of war there.
So again, men have gotten another excuse?
From probably not showing up to work, but because most of the matches are in the wee hours of the night. But
you go to watch World Cup and then you have to sleep over and come back in the morning.
Oh God, oh God. Anyway, some of the facts to look at. We do have the biggest ever 48 nations, including a record 10 teams from Africa in this times World Cup. And as UBC TV is ready to show you all the action.
You look very excited having 10 teams from Africa.
It is.
Is it time for Africa in your view? Do you see train soda?
Maybe with teams like Senegal representing, maybe.
Senegal's been there many, and
but at least 10, you know, at least it's something to celebrate. It's something to celebrate. The next year we will look forward to another, rather the next World Cup we'll look forward to.
If Uganda was there, I would be dancing on top of this table. Either we get whatever level, but the fact that we make it there.
In the spirit of Pan-Africanism, 10 African countries are there. That's
my prayer that we are not just only represented, but we come home with something tangible.
It comes to the continent.
At least finals or semi-finals.
Right. Or even the trophy coming to the continent and being held.
I'm out of that car.
Well, let's pause it here for now on this Thursday as we take a short break and allowing you to also settle in, and then thereafter we'll be coming back to talk about child labor, something that is rather pertinent and yet seemingly so normal and actually should be abnormal. That's a conversation we'll be having. Just save the number 0709.
You want to spoil our African children.
Yes.
When you bring those things of child labor, a child before the age of 14 should not do work, 14 to 18 should be supervised. Someone told me, Chirabu, the kids you people are going to raise are going to be problematic. But I think, listen to this conversation clearly, then you'll get it properly.
True story. True story. Let's have a short break. We'll be right back. Allow me to reiterate the numbers for you to be part of the show: 0709 602592, but also head over to our X handle at UBC TV and click follow. That way you're able to contribute on the conversation that we are having next. Good morning.
Live UBC Studios in Kampala.
That particular song is interesting because of the artists themselves, Milli Vanilli. Robert, did you know that Milli Vanilli were always mining their music? So much so that when the truth was discovered, a Grammy award that they had won was scrapped off of them.
Actually, I got to know about it through you.
Yes.
About a year or two back, and I had to pick interest in it.
We worked together for months now.
So I picked interest to find out, is this real true?
Yes, their producer was actually.
And I wondered why the producer had to do such a thing, saying he wanted Africans.
And the same producer was behind Bonnie M, and it is said that the same producer used to sing the part of the gentleman in Bonnie M's music, and the gentleman was just miming it. Very interesting facts you do find. Weird at that, but at the end of the day, they are facts and they exist. It is Good Morning Uganda, and away from that light moment, 11th June today, 2026, is the budget day in this budget month. Today, the budget speech will be read for the financial year 2026-2027. But speaking of budget, something that has interested me in the most recent updates a couple of hours ago, Speaker of Parliament Jacob Oboth initiated sweeping financial reforms by instructing the Clerk of Parliament to drastically slash the Speaker's office budget from roughly 24 billion down to 3.9 billion.
Well, that was a budget for Rebecca Kadaga. It was a budget, I think, for Jacob Olanya. Around that.
Yeah.
You know, actually I think there were 2 point something. Now here he comes to that. So despite inflation and all that, I think it can work. You know, there is no temptation as having so much money on your disposal.
Yep,
with little to do for it. You end up doing funny things.
Indeed, as we rightfully so.
You end up doing funny things.
And yet, of course, in the budget that is to be read, legislation and oversight was allocated 1.2 trillion. So with the 24 billion that he has slashed off, the excess funds are being relocated to empower parliamentary committees to conduct active on-site oversight instead of relying purely on post-facto Auditor General reports.
That is a good step. That is a good step. When we see the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, and also the Treasurer also coming up with measures. We've seen that now we won't have these parades, public holidays, people moving up country, spending a lot of money feeding people and all that. A one-day event taking about 16, 12 billion. We won't see this happen anymore. So it is a very good move. But yesterday, in the full Parliament, they condemned acts of mob justice following Sydney's death. Now I saw county member of Parliament, Andrew Olanya, who asked government to come up with policies that address delayed response to mob justice. Now, honorable, that was very good, a very good concern. But I think the solution here is not expediting justice on people who have committed mob justice. The solution is addressing the factor that leads people into mob justice.
If it's dealt with, then
If people know when you take this person to police, justice will prevail. No one will beat that person, because they know we shall hand this person to.
Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a